Hi guys, welcome to episode 3, and the question for this episode is, how important is legacy and what does it mean to you?
Wow, that's a good one. And I think that probably includes core values, you know, how are we leaving a mark after we leave this earth? What are we instilling in our children? Stuff like that. And there's just there's so many ways that we could go with this. So yeah, I mean, for me, legacy starts off with the home. So that could be from myself or even from my parents. So my family's kind of known for just doing like, being the first for things. So for example, my dad was the first kayaker from Jamaica to...
Come on, wow.
To represent the UK and Jamaica. So we have a lot of firsts in our family, and that just kind of put my life on a pedestal, because I'm like, oh my God, how do I follow this?
It's a lot of pressure.
Pressure, but also it's a challenge. And yeah, I think that kind of spurs me on in terms of my work life.
I feel like, yeah, you're being really, what's the word, like you're...
Humble.
Yes. I feel like you're being too humble.
Too humble, too
I feel like you're being too humble. Can't like...
Elaborate,
like,
so she can...
There's so much you do with your life. Like you've already created a legacy with your business.
Yeah, sorry, it took me a while though, but
You're being way too humble, because yes, your family have been the first to do things, but what you are doing in your life right now is amazing.
You're creating a whole foundation for your child to follow up to.
From the ground.
Yeah, and for her to carry it on. That's incredible. As a woman, and everything that you do as a woman and a mother, you should prop yourself, like give more props to yourself.
But how?
What do you mean how?
Because it's not about what your family have done so far, it's about what you are now creating for yourself and your daughter and all the people that you work with and whose careers you help elevate. That not a lot of people have that skill. I know I don't have that skill. I definitely don't. You need a lot of people skills, a lot of communication skills to do that.
You have a lot of drive.
Yeah. But I guess I was also just saying it from like where it comes from. And where my drive does come from. My mum often says, oh, your drive comes from your dad because he just does too much and he's always on the go, blah, blah, blah. It's only until having Els, I realised, okay, yeah, I have to do stuff that's for her and it's beyond me at this point. And for her to maybe take it on or not, but just to know that her mum actually enjoys helping people and has helped so many people get to where they need to get to in life.
I think I can say, like, from watching you, what you do, you're very much like on your purpose, and I think she'll be able to take that from you as well. Obviously, you're on a purpose-driven path, and that's something not everyone gets that. So you need to appreciate that. And then it's again what she was saying. Honour yourself, big yourself up, because again, not everyone else can do that. And I would say, like, for myself, I'm on a purpose-driven path as well, and I'd want to be able to give my child or my children options to say this is what happens when you do follow you're on your purpose. So
I think, like, for me, there's so many different reasons why I want to create my own legacy and leave something behind, not just for my child but for my community. Is because I look at my child, and I compare it to my upbringing a lot, and I think had my parents had more financial freedom, then there would have been more options for us as a family. There would have been more options in the education that I had. There would have been more, I don't know, just different possibilities and different doors would have opened, right? But I didn't have that as a child, so for me, I enjoy being able to be that for my daughter. Like, so there wasn't opportunities for me, but do you know what I did? I created them instead.
100%.
Like, I created the doors and I opened them, not just for myself, but for generations to come after me. And I do genuinely hope that my daughter takes that away from me. Oh my God, getting emotional. Because growing up as a foreign woman, like, and it's not your homeland, it's not easy, like, creating opportunities. It's not easy being promoted in a job. It's not easy just being acknowledged as well. And I never wanted to work for someone else for that reason, exactly because I knew that there was always going to be some glass ceiling for me that would have been completely unattainable to break through, and there always would have been obstacle after obstacle. So what I did was just did it for me, did it for me, for my daughter, and I hope that it shows other women that they can do it too. So it's not just about doing it for the family, it's also about doing it for a community of women as well.
And what would you say, is there like specific things that you're leaving behind, or or you want it to continue, or is it more like generic?
No, for me specifically, I'm like you say, like I'm passionate. Like I've had this purpose in life, right? And everyone always asks me, like, what is your end goal with what you do with your community and the work, and especially working in like violence against women and girls? I say I don't have an end goal. I just have a purpose and a passion, and I follow it, because for as long as women and girls are alive, they're always going to be at risk of violence. So therefore, how can I have an end goal, right? I have long-term goals that I know could benefit myself, my daughter, and a whole community of women. When I get there, then I'll set a different goal.
Yeah, we level up.
You've got to, right? Because the work is never going to end.
Oh, absolutely.
It's never going to end. And I hope that just by living my life so openly online as well, that I can't stop. I'm getting so emotional.
It's fine, you're doing amazing.
Move on. Alvina.
I realise, just talking about this makes me realise how I really am the first of my family to break so many generational curses, and so much to end the trauma, and I haven't acknowledged myself for that. I haven't acknowledged myself for that, and it just feels really, really emotional.
You should be so proud of yourself.
You should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, right.
The generational blessings,
Like,
that's a legacy.
It's because I talk to women every day, and women who are really like deep in crisis mode with perpetrators of domestic abuse, and women who have left and they're whatever they class them as, survivors, whatever they want to class themselves as. But every woman has this, like, they don't understand the power that they've got within them, and they feel like the power has to come outside of them, and that's not true. And if I can show women that, if I can show them how much power and strength you have inside you, you don't need to look elsewhere for it. It's in there. You just have to bring it out.
Amen, sister.
Just imagine how much we could achieve.
Yeah.
You should be so proud of yourself.
I did not think I would cry that much.
No, but honestly, you should be so happy with yourself.
I just feel like we all grew up like being taught to be quiet, be a wallflower, be seen, don't be heard. Like, you're a girl, your goals are marriage, your goals are children, your goals are this. Like, I didn't want any of that. They were never my goals. They were goals other people put onto me, and it wasn't fair that anyone had those expectations of me. And had I have not realised my own power, my life would be completely different. I wouldn't have achieved the things that I've achieved up until today, and I'm nowhere near any of my long-term, like getting to my long-term goals. I've still got such a long way to go, but you just made me realise now how much I have achieved so far.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. So yeah, legacy is important. Legacy is very, very important to me, 100%. And also, I do think if you just have one, it just takes one person. Just takes one person to show someone else how to do something. It's like planting a seed, and they go, it's like or maybe more like a butterfly effect, and they go off and tell someone else. They go off and tell someone else,
and you don't know who you've helped.
You don't know who
you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who you've helped. You don't know until people start reaching out to you, which I know you get quite a bit. And I guess there's a lot of silent viewers that probably think, wow, she's amazing, but just would never tell you to your face.
You're slightly helping. Do you know, I resonate with this so much, so much, because with when I started Pigment Perfect, just that little beginning of when I had the picture posted up on Lejla's wall to help her when she was going through racial bullying. And then the response that I had from strangers saying, wow, this can help my daughter, etc. I never thought, wow, doing this with Lejla and her physically seeing these messages and responding back to them, and how the impact it was having on her as someone that was going through that, but then also as a young girl in the society as well. And she just became so confident and so giving to others. And I loved that. And I thought, okay, we need to actually pursue this because this is going to help you and it's going to help your child and it's going to help every other black and brown child out there as well. That to me was just like,
Light bulb moment.
but it's like, we need to do this.
I think it's like when you accept that you are not white and privileged, you understand that actually there are so many obstacles, and like you've done with Pigment Perfect, is you just created your own platform so that it changed not just your daughter's life but others.
So many, and it makes me sad that I paused it at the minute because of the response that we were receiving of how much it's actually helped their child, and it's simple things as affirmations just hanging up on the wall. And you at the beginning I just thought, this is not going to help anyone, you know, like it's just, this is just an idea. But then the fact that Lejla was kind of pursuing it and was kind of backing it, that's just the drive that you just needed. I just needed to have more of, you know. So that, leaving that footprint with her and seeing where she can take it, because now she's a whole different child, she's a teenager. So when I started it off with her, she was about 6. So it's like, I'm now struggling to understand how can I get her to push this legacy even more? Because she's at a point where she's in a different generation and it's really difficult for her to actually motivate herself more. But yeah, one day, God willing, we'll do these things.
Bearing in mind, you had a whole festival, a children's festival off the back of that one idea. Which was fantastic and great because lots of girls and parents came down.
It was a crazy day. It was just that made me so humble because we had people from totally different backgrounds. It wasn't just black and brown, it was white, there was the Asian community. It was just lovely to see everyone in one place, no one judging. And then I just thought, wow, I did this, well, we did this, you know, it's, and the fact the kids were there to see that as well, I hope that just gave them some drive to continue what I left off.
And I think when you guys are talking about, like, I think when they speak about legacy, a lot of the time it's like what you're leaving behind, but a lot of what you lot are saying is like what you're doing now.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's very important because a lot of, like, my grandparents' generation, they would leave property, so let's talk about like generational wealth, property. But what I realise is you can strive and you can work yourself like tired to leave things behind, and then you're not installing some of those like values, like working together. And then you just kind of squander it. So it's like you can live your life basically trying to leave a legacy for your children and your grandchildren just for them to squander it. So I think it's about also installing, making sure they've got the right mindset. And I think, like my mum always says, like if she can do like now, rather than like, okay, I've got this house, I want to leave this for you guys. Working with, like you said, creating opportunities. So if we come to her and we're like, oh, I've got this idea, being in a position where it's like, I can help you. We don't have to struggle. And do you know what I mean?
Because there's power in community, whether it's family or it's not family, right? I'll never forget last year being completely like, had a moment with the production company, it wasn't great, but off the back of that, I created my own series. And I filmed and edited my own series, and that was with the help of the community. That was with the help of Corene and Anu, and it was, everybody came together and was like, no, we're not going to let you fail. Instead, what we're going to do is I am going to create a new opportunity for myself and open doors for everyone else, but I need people to help me because I can't do it on my own. It's not possible.
Takes a village.
Absolutely. But that's all about creating the community as well.
I mean, you guys sound like you've got huge legacies. I'll go really back to basics, and like living as a Muslim woman, I class myself as a liberal Muslim. So you know that, and I would love for my son to, you know, live as a liberal Muslim. My younger cousins as well, because growing up for me, it was so rigid. You know, there was no such thing as, you know, liberal. I cover my hair, but some bits are showing, and it's unacceptable. But it's okay. You can be in touch with your religion, and, you know, express the way you are. And I would love, I know it's not like huge legacy, but I'd love for my younger cousins to see that as well.
So maybe legacy though.
I don't know, because it's more. I feel like it's really personable to me.
But you're breaking something that no one, like, people are scared to do that. As a Muslim woman, so many women probably feel exactly like that, but they're scared to do it.
And that's you're doing it.
That's not a small legacy at all. That's not small.
Because I feel like I'm criticised by Muslims for being the way I am.
Yeah.
But you know, I pray. I fast. And you know, remember God every day. You know, whether it's like, you know, saying God willing, but because of my exterior.
But you're not doing it for those Muslims. You're doing it for Muslims like you. And if you remember that and you carry on with what fuels you with that fire, that's amazing. Like, it's so hot. It's really easy to get caught up in what the criticism and how negative people can be about what you're doing, but you're not doing it for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, you have to remember, even those people are being negative of you now, you don't know what they may experience in the future, where maybe they go back and be like, that's why she was dressed a certain way. I may now choose to do it my way because, okay, I now see things differently. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you could take it either side.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, so legacy from that perspective, like, you can be yourself and be Muslim. It's fine. Whether, you know, my cousins and my family members and people after me or during me take that. I think
that's a cultural shift in my eyes.
It is.
That's a cultural shift.
You're breaking those generational, I don't know what you want to call them, those curses to me. They're curses, because then they're not healthy principles or morals to live by, like it's all or nothing. How is that in any way healthy at all?
It's not, and it's just like, you can fall into a habit of never feeling good enough. Because you're never going to be religious enough. You know, you can always do better, but if you're happy within yourself, you know, carry it on.
There we go.
But I like the way that you lot have taken it, and like, because I'm kind of a bit like you, where a legacy, I wouldn't say like, oh, I've left a legacy. Yeah, that's huge. That's something like, maybe, you know, you're talking about like Malcolm X or like, do you know what I'm saying? Like me, like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking on a huger scale. So I like the fact that you've kind of taken it and been like, okay, I'm making a difference. Like, I feel like I've made an imprint. Imprint. In small ways, but a legacy, I'm always thinking of more like, okay, how do I create that for my children? So when I talk about like finances and whether it be leaving property, like wealth, property behind and stuff like that, that's I want them to be able to, like I said, just installing certain core values into them.
But can you say like leaving property behind, like finances, is a legacy?
It's not really a legacy, but
it's collateral, isn't it? So it's like
what they do with it.
Because if you think about it, if we think about it now, look how bad the housing situation is.
It's something tangible. Isn't it?
Exactly. So if you could. That could be one less stress for your child or your child's child, and therefore they're set up and they don't have to think about that, and they can focus on other things, because as we know, housing is a big issue, and I definitely feel like that's something that I would.
And then being able to work together, that's how you're able to build, because like I said, like my grandparents, for instance, they left property behind, but the siblings weren't being, like my aunties, uncles, parents, they weren't able to work together.
So it's kind of like,
what's the point?
So what's the point? So for me, like I said, it's making sure that you have certain like values you're not able to. It's what I'm able to do today that makes tomorrow easier. So it's not just like tomorrow. I'm not just thinking about tomorrow. Like, oh, when I die, I hope I leave for them to squander it. I'm telling you, I'm not working like so hard to give to my children for them to be fighting. I'm not even getting along anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be able to work together, understand like little things like financial education. Do you know what I'm saying? It's things like that. It's really,
but they're important.
It's extremely important. Like I said, whether it be like positive psychology, like all these kind of things, so that they're like, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? My parents never ever taught me anything about saving for mortgage. She always told me never get a mortgage because you'll be tied down. It's the contract. It's the devil's contract, etc. But it's like, why? Why haven't you told me these basic life skills that I need to know when I leave this house? And I didn't know how to save until I met Manuel. Imagine, it took one man to teach me how to save. That's sad.
Do you know, it's so funny you say that, because it's true. All that education that we know how to give our children now, and we didn't receive it as children. But I knew how to save face though. I knew what ornament. I knew all of that toxicity about coming from a different culture and how to people please and do everything so that we look good. But I didn't know anything about the practicalities of life.
We cannot blame our parents because you know what? They were taught from their parents, and they're as good as what their parents know.
But they're responsible for breaking the cycle.
No, but then at the same time,
as well. Like we are.
We're on the age of information.
We're on a different age.
We're different age. Everything is just so like fed to us to the point it's even information overload.
100%.
Anything you want to find, you go onto YouTube, you can go onto Google, and you can find it there. Okay, maybe you have to go to go and look in a book, or do you know what I'm saying?
Go to the library.
If they weren't taught it, then so I think sometimes we've got to give them a bit of grace.
Come on,
give them a grace that. Like now we're able to. So then, do you know what I mean?
To a point, no. I think to a point, because there are times where it's just like, well, how comes we had that? Obviously, it's the information age. But.
No, but
in ourselves, we need to do better. In ourselves, we're saying we need to do better for our kids. It's not just about.
Back then, our parents, remember, they're living in a more oppressive society as well. So, again, we have access to information. We could just type in whatever we want, and no one's stopping us from getting information that we need at that certain time. Back then, they didn't have. So again, we need to give them grace to a certain extent.
Because our kids probably ask, like, why are you doing it? The fact that why are you not going and doing the Google?
Listen, my daughter thinks I control the internet.
That's a big legacy.
That's a big responsibility.
Bill Gates who?
And I think that's how, you know, you spoke about like class and stuff like that. I think, let's just say the upper class or the middle class, because they actually live it, so their kids are able to, they grow in it, they see it. So it's not something where they're privileged, they have that. So I think we have to ensure that we've got to make more effort. We've got to make an effort.
We've got to make an effort.
So like even with my son, I've got like books on, he probably knows more than me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they absorb information, but there's like politics, there's one on finance, money. Do you know what I mean? And getting them away from their tablets for a second and just letting them read that book, or just everyday things like I go to the cash machine and let them see they've got a junior ISA, so a stocks and shares, and them seeing how their money grows. I don't know a lot about it, but I will go onto Google and I make sure that they're aware. So it's just doing things like that where I hope that they can continue and I'm able to. And I've got to keep, and like I said, I'm kind of focused on me. You know, everybody's like, oh, I've got to leave this behind for my kid. I'm focused on doing great things in order to. So it's not like, oh, I need to make sure. It's like, okay, I'm going to be great. And then from I'm okay, everybody's okay.
Absolutely.
So that's not selfish at all.
It's not selfish.
It's about you, starting from you and it then going outwards. So in terms of you, Asha, obviously you've got a business where it's purple.
My purpose-driven business. I help hundreds of women with reproductive health issues, from BV, irregular cycles, fertility, and things like that with my natural products. I'm also like a trained doula and a yoni steam specialist as well. So again, I've got a son, so he may not necessarily want to get into this, but he, like, from him being able to see me do what I do, I'm hoping it instills in him that he can do whatever he wants to do, and I'm giving him the options to do that. I would advise all of you, I don't know if you guys are like into astrology and stuff, I'm just going to go here. I did like a chart reading for my son, and it kind of shows like where certain aspects of his life, which kind of details his personality and what aspects kind of he would be more tuned into. So again, like, and I do the same for myself, and I could see where, like, from my chart, I saw why I am the way I am and how I've kind of come into my purpose. And the same for my son, where it shows like he's more into the arts, he's very performative naturally. So now I know I can then nurture that and then give him the option to do that. So that's, I would say.
What made you want to train as a doula in the first place?
When I was pregnant with my son, I wanted a doula.
What is a doula?
We support women in Perth to make sure, you have the birth that you desire, basically. And we educate you so you know your options. And we just around to make sure the environment is very serene and calm, and the birth is, we try and facilitate to make the birth is as how you would want it.
Okay.
They're amazing people.
Yeah. So what was the name?
What made you?
Yeah. So when I was pregnant with my son, I wanted a doula, but at the time I couldn't find doulas that looked like me, that could understand me, looked like us. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want not to put down anyone. I didn't want like an auntie or. Do you know what I mean? And then I had my son. It was a traumatic birth, and following that, I decided once everything was settled, I said, you know what, I'm going to do my doula training. And as well, like with a lot of my friends, I'm very much into natural like stuff, holistic. And a lot of my friends used to come to me about like fertility issues. I struggled with like PCOS as well, so I kind of like healed myself from that as well. Naturally. So a lot of my friends used to come to me like for advice and things like that. And then it was just only natural that I just like pursued that as a career, and it's very purpose driven and it's very fulfilling. Like I get women that will message me like in my DMs like, oh my God, Asha, thank you, I've been struggling with these issues for so long and your products have helped me. I feel confident, like in the bedroom, outside, just generally they just say it helps them so much. So again, like I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Like, that's I don't even know what to say.
That's amazing as well, because your son gets to see that, and you know, automatically he's being educated on women,
and you'll be able to,
without you realising.
And after like back to my birth is such like, I'm very spiritual. Birth is such a spiritual thing, and I feel like we're gonna touch on this later. I feel like because it's so controlled, like medically, that's another thing that's drove me to do it, because back in the day we never had these things, and I feel like birth should be as natural as it can be. So that's another part of it as well. So thank you.
It's amazing.
So then, like you can see, like I can feel,
thank you.
And I always know, like when I'm sitting around, like really inspiring women, because I'm like, oh my God, like now I want to be a doula. You know what I mean? Like they make me feel like I want to do that.
It'll be great, Lejla.
The thing is, we could all like women, supportive women or supportive of our friends, we all have it in us to be doulas. The same way, like when you have a child and all your friends come around and support you, that's doula. And when like you got a question about your pregnancy or anything you're going through, we're all doulas in our own way. It's just another term for it. Do you know what I mean?
So would you not say then legacy is like basically by fulfilling your purpose, you then create a legacy?
I feel that's sort of more like relatable.
That brings it more down to earth in a way, but they're not so far-fetched.
And also, can we stop being so humble?
No, for real. I don't know how else to be.
Talk about your achievements. Bad boy achievements.
I think even people that are not purpose-driven, I think even like how you treat a stranger that you've never met, that's leaving a legacy. Do you know what I mean? Because you never know how that person's going to remember you. You never know what that might do to that person in that moment.
Purpose that would like kindness, love, or whatever. It don't have to be like a career or a job or a thing. It would just be certain people just brighten your day.
100%.
Like a ray of sunshine. You know what I mean? But
it's the term, isn't it? Legacy.
Legacy.
It's like a big term.
Like marriage.
I guess you guys don't like terms then.
We don't like labels.
It's like pressure.
Labeling thing, but you know what? It's how you see it. So it's about breaking it down and then being able to deconstruct that. So although legacy seems big, in actual fact we do it all in our own life anyway, whether it's daily or whatnot.
Like what you leave, legacy is like what you leave behind.
That's
what a legacy
and
is
how you impact society.
And we do.
Be the smallest thing.
We impact.
So everybody
We
matters.
are leaving a legacy sitting here today.
We are.
We are.
Amen to that.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and
Subscribe.